Hi everybody and welcome back to La Capricornia with me, Priscilla Moreno. As always, make sure you stay until the end for your full guided message. Okay guys, so today I want to talk about getting over betrayals. And that can be like friendships, that can be relationships, that can even be family members, right? Where you feel betrayed and you feel alone and you feel like you don't have that backup that you thought you had. And I want to say that I feel like being betrayed is one of the hardest things you can go through. And I'm not saying it's the most, I'm just saying it's one of the hardest. So I know some people are like, oh, you just need to get over this situation, or, you should have known, or whatever, right? But one thing that betrayal does to you, and I actually learned this, not just from my therapist, but different things I've seen, it changes the way you look back at your memories. Because, you could have had X amount of time, let's say, with a person, and you were betrayed at the end. And you start looking back as in, not just, okay, this situation. Then you start thinking, you know what, like a couple months ago this happened. Was this related to this? A year ago this happened. Was this related to this? Years ago, when I first got with this person, I noticed this. And your memories start changing. They don't just have, all those good, rosy, beautiful feelings to it. They start getting tainted with the thought of maybe this is what was happening this whole time. And you start changing somewhat the story to it. And I feel like it pulls you into a darker hole sometimes, you guys, because again, and I'm not saying, this could have happened, there could have been all these things happening at that time. But then what it starts doing is it starts weighing on you, because then you start telling yourself things like, I should have known, I had this feeling, or like this and this happened. And you start doubting yourself. You start doubting, all the things you thought were true. And I feel that's where it gets to you, because not only are you changing like your memories, it literally changes your past. It changes the way you feel about it. It changes the way you look at it. And, again, part of it is you need to work through it, because I feel that definitely when it comes to that kind of situation, you need to like focus on yourself and you need to heal from it, so you're not attracting the same kind of people or cycles into your life that you've had or have had. So I actually told this to a friend recently. I had told them that I remember that when I went through a certain situation, I thought this is never going to happen to me, right? I didn't even focus on healing myself. I just said, this is never going to happen to me. And I said that it was in a certain way, right? I wasn't going to get hurt in a certain way again. And, one thing that didn't happen is I got hurt in a different kind of way this time around, right? But in honesty, I didn't heal myself. I literally attracted the same person in a different body. It might not have gotten to certain levels as this person, but it still got to certain levels and by itself, right? To where I ended up learning something else entirely and realizing, of course, that I needed to choose myself. And again, I went through it, right? And I think that's where, it starts affecting you, because you start telling yourself you're not good enough, you're not this and that. Like, betrayal does so much to you, especially because it's affecting the one thing, trust, right? And then you start looking at everybody like, can I trust any of these people? Like, again, friendships, relationships, whatever. We start looking at them. Or let's say, the simplest things, right? This person used to like the same sports team or whatever, and you meet a friend or a relationship or whatever that likes the same sports team, you start associating all these random things with like trust, that sometimes, it could be a sign, you guys, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, what if it's not? You know what I mean? And what if you're just being so picky, you're being overprotective? You start armoring yourself to not get hurt again, because again, I feel like betrayal can be like very hard, especially like when it changes everything. Because again, the simplest thing, like someone gives you flowers, could be a trigger, like, oh, this person gave me flowers when this was happening. Like, are you doing the same thing? Or like, even friendship, like, why are you giving me flowers? Like, did you do something to betray my trust? So again, it just causes a whole bunch of issues. And that's again where we need to like heal ourselves. And one of the things that I talked about on my Instagram was that I actually prayed for the other person, and even people, because I've had friends that have definitely betrayed me. And I started thinking of it, when I think about this, I want to pray and just be in light. Like, I don't want to sit there and be just so negative or wish bad on them, or even be like, oh, one day they're gonna get their karma. At the end of the day, it's not my decision on who gets the karma, what type of karma they get. My version of what somebody's karma should be might be different from another's, right? And I've learned that over the years, because unfortunately didn't have the best family members that taught me certain things when it came to that, right? And so that's where we have to tell ourselves, like, okay, do you really want to live in this hate, live in this anger? Or do you want to be in the light? Do you want to really get over this? Do you really want to learn why this happened to you, And not just as in this weird, twisted, because you want to fix yourself to be a better person for someone else kind of thing. Actually trying to fix yourself for you, because you matter. Like, you're more than enough and you deserve that attention. You definitely need to focus on yourself, be within yourself. And even like right now, you guys, like, I have been, alone for a little bit, and I love it. At first I probably was a little bit like, oh my gosh, I have been in a relationship for years. This is different. I was freaking out. Not that I needed to jump into anything right away, but I was kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And really working on myself, to be honest with you, I got it. And I've always had the answers, and I've always been really good. I trust myself so much when I really think about how much I have done for myself. And that's the biggest thing, is I trust myself, because there was a time where I didn't, I didn't trust myself to make the right choices or to look at things correctly, and I would just freak myself out. But now there's a whole different way that I look at myself, you guys. So again, you really, really need to go back and go within yourself and work on that betrayal trauma, and not let it get to you, not let it bring you down, and not let it hurt others. Another thing too, you guys, if you don't fix that, how is that going to look like for your next friendship or relationship? You're just going to keep taking it out on these people because you've never healed that part, or things are triggering you. So that's my message, you guys. It was really short, sweet, and simple. I don't even know why I've actually been dealing with some of this little betrayal trauma, kind of. But I'm really glad that I'm looking at it with love, light, and I'm working through it. So now it's time for your reading. And I'm actually going to use the Angel Oracle deck to go through this, because I just thought it would be different to like change it up a bit. So your first card is Balance, which if you've seen the July messages, balance was so huge this month, you guys. Like, I feel not only in, working on yourself or financials or things like that, but I feel you have to find that balance in just even like working on things, right? I feel like this is a time where we're being called to action, go, we got to get this done, stand out there, do this, finally take that leap forward, take that leap of faith. And this is also telling you, hey, I get it, you need to do this, and I'm not telling you not to, but you need to also have fun. You need to also find that creative side of you. You need to find what you're doing with joy, and I'm pretty sure you've had things happen like this where you're just so serious about something because you are passionate about it. It's fun, it's exciting. But then you put so much pressure on yourself, and then it's not so fun and it's not so exciting. And then you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Find that balance, you guys. Find that balance between figuring out everything you need to figure out and having fun and just being you. Okay, so your next card is Speak Your Truth. So again, I definitely do feel like this is a time of speaking your truth. And not just even like, that doesn't mean you go out there and, I'm not bashing anyone, like people that go on TikTok and just start going off on what happened to them that day or the situation that they were in or anything like that. You don't have to go so extreme. It might be that message for you, but you do not have to go that extreme. It's just more as in, like, be honest, not just with yourself, but with others. You know, like, what do you want? What do you really want? Are you really happy? Do you know exactly like what you're looking for? I was actually talking to my mom the other day, and she made a comment of like, you know exactly what you want. Because I was just having this conversation of when it came to children and things that I wanted and where I feel I'm going to be going at when it comes to a direction. And she made that comment, you know, like, oh, you know what you want, you know what you're looking for, this and that. And, you know, I kind of thought she was going to say like, oh, you know, you're crazy for thinking half of the stuff you were talking about. But she didn't. She was just like, well, I can't say anything. Honestly, like, it's up to me on whatever I do when it comes to my life, right? Even if it is by myself. So definitely speak your truth. Say what you want. And I actually said this in my reading for the July messages. Say it out loud. Like, really say it out loud. Sometimes you just gotta, like, even tell yourself, like, you got this. And I've actually done this before where sometimes, like, again, standing in front of a mirror, even if just like right now, right? Looking into a camera, like, you got this, you can do this, you look amazing, like, you're gonna kill it. And sometimes that's all we need, like, just to say it out loud, to hear it, even if it's within ourselves. Okay, you guys, the next card is Don't Hate, Meditate. So it's a card, again, you guys, like, it goes with this message too, is really working on yourself and not letting that anger or the things take over you. Like, I really feel like this is a time where we need to really, really release everything. I feel like you've done everything, right? You've done the work. You've gotten rid of the person. You've closed the doors. The boundaries are there. Everything was done, but there might be just a little bit of anger inside of you. Maybe it's fear. It's the fear of what could be, or what if this is the same? What if I'm doing a bad decision all over again? Honestly, connect with your guides. You know, don't hate, meditate. Connect with your guides, connect with your angels, connect with yourself and your intuition. You're right. You're right, and you will feel it and you will know it. But you'll also know when you're like, I'm being too much right now. And I know that's like a weird statement to make, because I do say like you're never too much. But I know sometimes I tell myself that, like, Priscilla, like, to myself, you're being too much. Like, you're fine. You're amazing. Like, you got this. Now you're just like stressing about the randomest little thing, you know? And sometimes we need to check ourselves, you guys. Really need to check ourselves. Okay, and your guided card is the Rabbit, which has to do with pregnancy and fears. So definitely pregnancy, you guys. It doesn't have to mean babies unless that's exactly what you're looking for. It could be like a new beginning, new ideas, something's being birthed into your life. And it does not have to be a child. So it could be just anything new coming your way. And then I like how that says fears, because I did just say maybe you just have a fear that you still need to connect with, and it's bringing out some negativity with you. And maybe that is what that, like I said, like kind of what I've been dealing with has been bringing out of me, because I have to learn to go with the flow, and I have to learn that at the end of the day, anybody that comes into my life is a blessing, whether they taught me a good lesson or not. You know, it's still a lesson. So definitely get over those fears, you guys, and that's pretty much it. I hope y'all enjoyed the message. I hope you all have a great week. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on my social media. And bye-bye, everybody.